Hello and welcome. I am Scarberlock, and this is City of Villains on the Rebirth server. We are with Nightmare Lass, our level 46 Mastermind, who is about a million two away from getting to level 47 in our next superpower, which I have no idea what it will be. 90 million infamy, and we are on a story arc for Ghost Widow. She says, your next target. She had originally told us there were going to be four targets. We captured one, and then she said there were two more. So don't know how many more we're going to have. My guess is this episode will be at least two targets, and then we'll have another target or a final target or something in the next episode. We'll see. She says our next target is Dr. Murphy. He used to work for Portal Corporation, and it is there that he acquired the expertise that we so desperately need. Fortunately, the good doctor then defected to the council, so you will not have to go quite so far this time. Murphy is quite close in the council compound on Sharkhead Isle. Let's go get him. Right, so we have to go to Sharkhead? Yep. Okay. And just double checking there. So, yeah, we are just about 4 beads from level 47 in our next superpower, and I honestly have no idea what that's going to be. I don't really feel like I need much for this character. I guess we can get more of Ghost Widow's stuff, although I think most of those are not powers I really want. Um, I've had this experience a lot in City of Heroes. There was, like, even with my scrapper, if you go back and look, what I wanted for her was, I think, the endurance reduction, the extra endurance reduction. And yeah, focused accuracy, you had to take it as one of the entry powers, and it was okay once in a while, and I can't remember what the other power was, the health, but what I wanted was that third power that is sort of like a combo of health and stamina. It's sort of like a half health, half stamina, and I wanted that so I could slot it for the stamina because I wanted to have better endurance control, right? So I only took those other powers to get the one I wanted, and I really didn't want any of the others. Um, yeah, I feel like when they made the epic power pools, a lot of people like them. The developers made a bunch of epic power pools that I just had no interest in. A lot of them have attacks that I don't want. Things like I beams. Like, what do I want why would I want my martial arts character to have I beams? Now, some players like it either because it fits their concept. Like one person was saying to me when I created Liberty Lass, and he felt like she was kind of a Supergirl, Superman type concept. Oh, you should get her the I beams, so it's like heat vision. I'm like, yeah, she's not Supergirl. She shouldn't have that power. So I never did take it for her. Oh, did we miss somebody? Oh, there we go. Same thing with like a martial artist. Shouldn't be having eye beams. Like that's not. What is she shooting chi out of her eyes? Yeah, I mean, I guess you could, but I wasn't interested in it. A lot of players use it to do things like give their character a damage type that the character doesn't normally have. And again, it for some concepts that is appropriate, right? Again, heat vision for Superman would be appropriate to give him an energy damage type or something, so that he's not just punching. But my martial arts character doesn't need another damage type, right? In terms of concept. Now, in terms of the game, it's nice to have another damage type, but I'm not going to give my character stuff just because it makes them more effective. I want to give them stuff that is in concept and makes them more effective. If it's going to make them more effective, great, but I want to be in concept. Um, which is why I didn't love the incarnate powers for Silver Phoenix. I never actually was able to post those. But yeah, it gave her a lot of powers that she didn't have, and frankly, the whole concept, the whole kind of in-character idea of the incarnate abilities is that you're sort of becoming like a god, right? And that's what the incarnates are. They're sort of like demigods, and your character is becoming this super powerful cosmic, Galactus level superhero. And again, I'm not sure that's appropriate for that would be appropriate, I think, for Nightmare Lass, that she becomes this like demonic entity powerful enough to vie with Demogorgon to rule the abyss. She would absolutely want to do it, and because she's magical, I could see her gaining the ability to do that. My martial arts character, Silver Phoenix, is a martial artist. She's just karate kicking people or kung fu, right? I don't see her kung fu kicking Galactus. She really should not conceptually have become an incarnate, right? But literally on that server, you can't help it. If you continue playing after 50th level, you gain incarnate experience and you unlock incarnate abilities. And, if you want to go through, then they have story arcs about it, and you drink from like the well of incarnate power, and you basically become like a god and sort of immortal and everything. Like, I didn't really want that for her. I mean, I did it because with Silver Phoenix, I was trying to explore every bit of the game with her because she was my first and main character upon, coming back to City of Heroes when it was on the private servers. But it doesn't really fit that well for her. Not sure how much it fits even for Tiger Strike. Now it could potentially fit for Liberty Lass, in the terms of the extremity of her power levels, right? I picture her as she grows. I pictured her. Oh, we're sleeping. I pictured her, yes, becoming gaining to Superman levels of ability, right? Powerful enough to fight Darkseid or Galactus. Yes, I picture Liberty Lass being able to go in there and hold off Galactus while the other superheroes are recovering, or take on Darkseid one-on-one, and it's a fair fight eventually. I do picture her that way, but I don't picture many of my other characters that way. It's certainly not Silver Phoenix. I imagine Darkseid would have a darn hard time hitting Silver Phoenix, but I don't imagine she'd be able to do much to him with her karate or her martial arts, right? And so, and she was doing things like, self-healing and summoning Sue, and that really wasn't that wasn't in concept for her. And so, like with the incarnate abilities, a lot of the epic abilities, yeah, they're great coverage for the weaknesses of your character for game mechanic purposes, but often they don't fit the concept I have for my character. And I think one of the problems is they've been, and here's the guy we're looking for, they're very restrictive about who can have which powers in the epic sets. Certain ones are available for scrappers, and certain for stalkers, and certain for blasters, and so on. And many times the ones that they chose for the archetype I'm playing are just not really in concept. Are you going to come with me? Is he coming? Yes, okay. Alright, so now this is going to be a pain with these tiny tunnels because he's going to get caught on the pets. So I'm going to keep sending the pets ahead, and this is going to be a mess. But I'll keep sending the pets ahead. As much as I love Masterminds, and I do enjoy this character, as much as I love it, these lead-out missions, the escort missions, definitely make me not want to ever play a Mastermind again. Certainly on the villain side, because there are so many of these, but they also converted a lot of the hero ones to escort missions as well. And I don't mind the ambushes so much. I can handle that as a Mastermind, but I find the escort missions so annoying that it makes me not ever want to play a Mastermind because I don't want to deal with the escorts. Alright, so we are going to the left. I like everything else about the Mastermind, pretty much. I think the two things that bother me about it, one of which I could live with, the other of which I don't ever want to deal with again, are leading out NPCs, which you can see is a mess. And the other one is just the fact that you have to, that at least for me, the way I play and the way I slot, and the lack of sets and stuff maybe is doing it, but at least for me, I find that I have to keep lowering the difficulty on the final mission of every story arc because my pets can't deal with the +2 bosses. And I think that those two things are the two things I don't like about Masterminds. And um, and they make me, but the one that makes me not want to play them anymore, not want to play another one all the way to 50, is this, the escort missions. Incidentally, it's why I'm not sure I would want to play another Stalker to 50 either. Right? Because as a Stalker, you have to turn off your invisibility, and lead them out. I don't mind it as much because so once you turn off your invisibility, you can still lead them out pretty well. With the pets, the problem is the pets get in the way of the character, of the NPC, right? And the NPC gets like choked up on the doors with them and stuff, and consequently, they end up getting lost. They can't find their way, right? And you have to, I mean, if you look at this, right? Think about how long it's going to take me just to walk this guy out the door. There's no challenge to it. There's no chance we're going to lose a fight or anything like that. It's not hard in that sense. The challenge is controlling your stupid minions to the point where they don't block this guy from going where you need him to go. And you can't dismiss them because there are ambushes, or there might be ambushes. In this case there is. Sometimes there aren't. But you can't dismiss them because there are ambushes and you need your minions to defend you against the ambush. Because as easy as these fights are when we have our minions, they would be much more difficult, maybe even impossible, if I were just by myself. Now, I guess you could build a Mastermind using enhancement sets and other power selections besides the one I have. Like, so there are several attacks she has that I've never chosen. There are several. The ones I do have, the attack powers, I didn't bother to slot, right? Other than teleport. So I really can't do damage by myself, and that's a choice that I made. And maybe, on +0, if I had the right power choices and enhancements, I'd be able to solo it, and I wouldn't have to worry about my minions sort of stepping on the NPC's toes. But then the other issue is I'm a Mastermind. I chose this character because I want to have minions, and having to put them away so that I can run these guys out of the mission, and doing this over and over and over again for what would amount to many hours of gameplay over the course of 50 levels, that's not why I'm playing a Mastermind. Just like with a Stalker, I'm not playing a Stalker to turn off hide, right? And I can sort of tolerate it with the Stalker because I turn off hide, I can fight without hide fine, and I'm just leading the NPC out, and you can kind of do it without having to deal with them. You just walk to the exit, and most of the time they follow you. But with the minions, they just keep getting caught up on the minions, so now I've got to lead the minions ahead of me over and over again, or deal with them getting stuck. I just find that so obnoxious that I don't think I'll ever play another Mastermind to level 50. As cool as robots and ninjas are, and beasts, and I would love to do all of them conceptually, the only way I would ever do it is if somebody, one of these, either Homecoming or one of these guys, made an option you could turn on that was turn all escort missions into non-escort, right? Like that, just when you find the NPC, it just completes the mission instead of having to run them out, right? I might be willing to tolerate having to run out the NPCs until you get the last one, because in most of these escort missions, I would say probably 80% of them, you're only escorting one guy and not multiple ones. So if you got rid of 80% of them, I'd be willing to play another Mastermind. But the way they are, where you're doing at least a couple every story arc, I'm not interested in dealing with the NPCs again like that. It's just too frustrating. Bad enough doing it as a brute or a tanker or something, but when you're doing it as a Mastermind where you have to micromanage your pets and the NPC, and you can't control the NPC really directly, it's just so frustrating that, yeah, I don't think I want to do that anymore. Which is a shame, because Masterminds are really cool. All right, let's call her up. Dr. Murphy, seem most amenable to our terms. Nightmare Lass, yes. Join us or die. I guess he decided to join. We have but one scientist left to recover, which is weird because I'm sure she said, in fact, I watched the video again, she did say there were four, and this is only the third one. We have but one scientist to recover, Dr. Nelson. He was lured away from Portal Corp by the Malta group, so we're going to go fight the Malta, and he's in Granville. So let's see, how long did that mission take? 15 minutes, so let's go ahead and teleport to the mission, since we're in another zone, and we probably won't do anything after this. We'll see how long this one takes. See, if that hadn't been an escort mission, and you could see there was no point to the escort, it's just like a time sink. It's just there to annoy you, right? If it had ended when we got him, we'd be halfway through the next mission now, and we could do 3 missions in this episode instead of 2. With no change to the difficulty of the missions, but a big change to how fun versus annoying they are. Alright? So here we go, in another cave. And then the other problem is, too, with these escort missions, this is a lab. So this might not be as bad. One of the other problems in that last mission is those very narrow, twisty-turny caves are definitely the sorts of caves where the NPCs get caught up on the minions. By the way, I want to point out, it is December 31st today when I record this. I might actually record a second video. It's morning, and it's normally the time of day when I would be unable to play this game pleasurably because, especially City of Villains, there's a lot of dark labs and there's a lot of ambient light in this room, as I've mentioned in many other videos before. But today, it's kind of rainy and cloudy out and very gray and dim, so I'm not having that issue, and I can play in the morning and then again later if I want. We're going to be closing in on level 47, and I think I may record a second episode today, but I probably won't post it until tomorrow. Actually get us to level 47 by the end of the year, which is today. So Happy New Year and Healthy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone is having a good New Year, and I hope all of our 2021s are better than our 2020. I mean, I would hope that anyway. Even if 2020 hadn't been a really awful year in many ways, I would say I hope that your new year is the best year you've had yet. That's always a good wish. When I was a kid, my family is Italian, and when I was a kid, I had an aunt who would, when we made the toast on New Year's, she would say, "Per cientan," which in their slangy way, because my family was from southern Italy, and so they chopped off the ends of words. So in Italian, you always have a vowel at the end of almost every word, except for very few exceptions. It should have been per cento anno, right, or per cent'anno, which means for 100 years. And the idea is you're wishing the person 100 years of health. And I always thought that was a really nice one, right? May you live 100 years, essentially. Which I guess wouldn't be very pleasant if you're 99 years old, but everybody at the table when she said it was, under 80. So to live 100 years would be great for everybody. And that's how she used to, and she said it, and I was like, what the heck does that mean? And I think it was before I started taking Italian, so I couldn't figure out the translation. And she said, so you live 100 years. And I think in particular, she used to say it on New Year's, but I think it was in particular a toast that they would make in my family on your birthday, right? So whatever day you're turning, whatever year you're turning, whether it's 11 or 15 or 37 or 92, they're wishing that you can live to be 100 years. And for the new year, it's like Happy New Year and 100 years more. So may everyone listening to this live 100 years, and hopefully there'll be 100 good years, or most of them will. And meanwhile, I wish everyone a happy 2021, and hopefully your 2021, whatever your 2020 was like, good or bad or indifferent, and it's been a kind of a lousy year for most people, but it's been a good year for some. And as I said in the last episode, I've had some good stuff happen this year. I've been playing D&D and had a blast doing that. I've been enjoying City of Heroes and City of Villains. I've gotten 2 characters and almost a third to level 50 in this game and had a lot of fun with it. I've enjoyed another game, House Flipper, and I got myself. I mean, on the bad side, my old computer, started having trouble. But on the good side, I got a brand new computer. And as I said to my best friend, who just got his awesome new Uber computer delivered yesterday, and he hasn't even. I think today is the day he's setting it up. He didn't have time yesterday. Um, he got it yesterday. It was supposed to actually come, I think, on Monday, but it actually arrived early, and he got it. Yeah, and I basically messaged him and said, what's the good word? Is what do you know about your computer? When's it supposed to arrive? And he said it's supposed to come today. And I said to him, I imagined him like a cat, whose owner has left. And if you've ever seen videos of this, the cat, some cats, not all of them do this, but there's a really cute video of one cat doing this, and I know one of my cats did it because my mom told me about it. He did it only with me because he was like my buddy. Um, he and I were best friends. We had two cats, and he and I were best friends, and the other one was more best friends with my mom. I mean, they loved us both, and we loved them both, but and they loved my sister as well. They used to love to cuddle up with her and sleep with her as well, and she loved them. But this one cat, whose name was Caramel, was my buddy, and he would after when I was in college, and I would go off to school, and he would sit by the door and wait for me for like an hour, hoping I would come back, And I always felt awful when she told me that. 'Cause like, well, what can I do? I can't. You can't explain to him what you're doing or how long an hour is. He doesn't understand. And so he would just sit there and he would meow a little bit, and then he would stop meowing and then just sit at the door and wait for me. And she would try to like call him in and give him food, and sometimes that would work, but most of the time he would just sit there forlornly waiting for me to come back. And there's cute video of a cat doing this. You can Google it. It's super cute. It's kind of heartbreaking but cute, where the owner goes out and he had set up a camera, and you see this one. There were two cats, and the one cat sort of sits by the door and then leaves, but the other cat it sits by the door for like 45 minutes and cries, meowing for its owner. It just keeps walking back and forth waiting for its owner. So I just jokingly, he's a cat person as I am, and I jokingly said to him, I picture you like a cat sitting there staring at the door waiting for its owner to come back, only you're waiting for your computer. And he laughed and said, yeah, kind of. So he got his new computer, and what I said to him, this is sort of a tangent, but what I said to him, and I'm saying now, is when you buy a new gaming computer, which costs a couple $1,000, right, to get a really high-end one like this that I'm playing on, when you go to buy the new one, it hurts. It's a lot of money to spend. No matter how much money you have, $2,000 is a lot of money to spend on a computer. But of course, you also know if you don't do that, and these guys are all going to try to summon turrets, aren't they? So let me see if I can pull one out. I don't know if that'll work, but, and the turrets aren't that big of a deal, but we'll see. There we go. Yeah, he's going to try to summon, but we'll kill him first. And this guy's probably going to summon. So it hurts it hurts to pay for it. But then with a lot of these custom computers, the computer then has to be custom built and everything, and it's like a month or more. For me, it was, I think, about 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks between when I ordered it and when I received it. By the time you receive it, the pain is kind of over. These guys summoned their auto turret, couldn't stop them. The pain is over. You already burned that credit card last month or paid for it, whatever. So the pain is over, and now the day it arrives, it's just like Christmas. It's awesome. It's always fun to get a brand new computer, to get one that's way better than the old one you had, and then get to enjoy the smoother gameplay, the better graphics, the faster boot up, and all that stuff. And it's so nice to have a nice, clean, newly set up computer. Once, the awful part is installing all the software you need, like your internet browser and things like that. And this computer, for some reason, and I think it has to do with Windows 10, not the computer, but I've just had all kinds of trouble with Chrome and given up and started using Edge. So I don't know what happened, but other than that, having a nice new clean computer and being able to install all your software and have everything just work on it, it's so much fun. It's great having a brand new machine. So he's probably, well, it's early in the morning and he likes to stay up late at night and sleep late, and I think today is a day off for him. So if that's true, then he may still be asleep. But if it were me, I'd be up 7 o'clock in the morning and starting to install software and by 10 o'clock my computer would be ready to go, and I'd be playing City of Heroes on it, or whatever else he wants to do. So yeah, he got a new computer. So I got this new computer. So it was bad that my old computer kind of started dying, but hey, I've got this awesome kick butt new computer that hopefully will last me several years. 3 or 4 or 5. Hopefully 5. More likely 3 or 4, because that's about how long they tend to last me before I decide to upgrade. It's super awesome. I even got a free upgrade to the graphics card, which was terrific and unexpected, without any additional charge. And that was great, and the computer's been awesome, and I've been loving that. And I haven't really liked doing online classes overall, but hey, there are still benefits to that. For example, my car that I bought in 2019, here we are at the end of 2020, it's nearing 2 years old, only has like 14,000 miles on it, because it had about, well, nearly 13K when the pandemic hit, and I haven't gone anywhere since the hitting of the pandemic, right? So I don't know where this Dr. Nelson's going to be. My guess is on the final level. We don't seem to have... Oh, there's a guy. I was going to say we don't seem to have anybody here, but we do. It's totally worth, by the way, defeating all in these missions, especially lieutenants, because look at how much XP they grant us. 12,000 experience points. Right, if you take a look at... so 12,000 experience. If you take a look at how much XP we need, right? About 100,000, or about 1,000,000. Each lieutenant is like 1% of a level, right? You defeat 10 lieutenants in one of these missions, you've gone 10%. That's a bead just from the lieutenants. So I think it's totally worth hunting around and finding lieutenants, because every 10 we find is a bead. It's worth it with triple XP going. So anyway, yeah, one of the sort of silver linings in the cloud of the pandemic is by not driving a lot. I haven't put a lot of mileage on my car, and so it'll last me more years, right? Because if you figure I'm gonna keep the car till it gets to say 100,000 miles, well, there's one whole year where I didn't put any miles on the car. I only put like 1,500 miles on the car. And realistically, I would have had to put less than half of that, except that I do take the car out a couple times a week and just drive it around, just because I don't think it's good to have it sit and only ever be taken out to pull the garbage can out of my house or to go to the supermarket. So I go for a drive every Sunday and Wednesday, and we're stunned here, so that's why I'm not able to move. And I just try to give it a little exercise, make sure that the engine's running and stuff like that. I don't know if that's like absolutely necessary, but I figure it can't hurt the car, and it might be useful to the car in terms of keeping the engine just being used regularly, so things don't kind of seize up. I don't know if modern engines can do that, but it can't really hurt, and it's not putting that much mileage on the car. I only put on maybe 25 miles a week compared to how I used to put on like 25 miles a day. My car would be well on its way to 25,000 and well over 20 if I had kept commuting and everything. And the other nice thing is that without having to commute, I don't have to get up quite as early. I think I'm going to have a hard time when we go back to in-person getting up at 6:30 every morning, because lately I've been getting up at 7:30. So there's 2 elevators here. Not sure which one to go up, so let's go up this one and see what we get. So in fact I need to start going to bed earlier because there is a month to go before our next semester starts, but I don't want to wait until the semester starts to start getting up earlier, because I may need to meet with students or fellow faculty in early meetings and stuff at 8 a.m. and I don't want to be getting up at 7:30 when I got to meet somebody at 8. So now why am I teleporting these guys. The main reason... Oh, well, that's not going to work because my guys moved forward. I was trying to avoid aggroing both the engineers and the gunslinger, but I guess we're not going to be able to do that, so it's fine. Let's take the yellows out, the oranges out first, and then we'll go for the reds. We'll do the auto turret last because it has an insane amount of... resistance, and so and the gunslinger does a lot more damage. The auto turret is more of an annoyance. Like most summoned things in this game, unless you leave them for a long time, they're just an irritation. Some of the Ricti conscripts, similar to cairns and trees of life and things like that. The summon stuff is mostly just an annoyance. It's not really... there's no real chance it's going to do you in. Unless you let 3 or 4 auto turrets get summoned in multiple spawns and you don't deal with them. Which I think I did once as Silver Phoenix. Or maybe as my Stalker. I can't remember which. Haven't done with this character. It's unlikely to happen with this character because we have so many minions and there's so much damage flying around that the odds that more than one operations engineer are going to be able to summon something are really tiny. So yeah, low mileage on my car, new computer, playing D&D. Lots of good things have happened this year. Not having to commute. I don't like commuting, so I like being at work. I prefer being on campus. Oh, there's a boss. He hasn't seen us yet. Oh, now he did. Let's do our quick buffs and oh, get the sapper. That's not good. He didn't hit me to drain endurance. He hit my minions, so that's okay because then I can keep healing. Yeah, of course, there weren't any sappers in this entire mission, so I got lulled into a sense of forgetting about sappers. And let's see if we can lower this guy's defense. We should be able to. Bam. There we go. That doesn't miss much now that I've got the 2 hit buffs on it. And we're going to need to take off both stealth and fly. 27k for that boss. That was some serious XP. And now we head out. Now see here, I don't know that we have to make the minions run ahead of us quite as much. And it's a little bit easier because it's a sort of a flat open hallway. So he should be able to go around them. Right? You see how he's able to go around them if he follows me and I stay to the side. But you see here, no ambush, apparently. And so if there's no ambush, the question is, what's the point of leading them out? It's just there to be a time sink. Alright, so now in here, we have some narrow areas, so we're going to want to push the minions ahead. And these little guys too, right? These guys also block their movement, so when you add the little guys, plus all the minions, that's why it's very hard as a mastermind to have these guys follow you out. There's the ambush. Okay, well, so to me, a lead out is a little bit worth it. I mean, I don't like them. I never will, but at least it's a little worth it if there's an ambush. Right, but even the ambushes seem very half-hearted to me, right? If you really want to make an ambush, it should be, oh, see, and my guys can't get past this thing. Because these things, unlike most other bodies of unconscious enemies, the robots block your movement. I found that out with, I think, Silver Phoenix by accident one time when I was trying to go through a door, and I'm like, why can't I get through this door? And it was because there was a dead robot and it was blocking me, and I didn't realize. I think it was the first time I had something like that happen, and I didn't realize that it did that. You can see that my minions are having a hard time getting over this, but they're all right. and I try to go through the stairs with him because he's going to have as much trouble as the minions. All right, and now we're going down this way. Whoop. So yeah, 2020's been, annoying in a lot of ways, unpleasant in a lot of ways, but there have been some benefits. One of the things that staying home more enabled me to do, even on like work days, with you take breaks, and I've done a lot more on those breaks, just actual cooking for myself, as opposed to trying to do something quick. When I'm working from, get up at 6:30, leave at 7:15 or something in the morning, working all day, come home at 6. I'm not really in the mood after commuting and doing all that work for the day. I'm really not in the mood to do a lot of hardcore cooking. But if I'm home all day, well, I can maybe prep some of what I would make for dinner at lunchtime, and then just make the rest, finish the meal at dinner time. And I don't have to commute. So instead of commuting home at 6 or whatever, right at 6 o'clock, I'm in my kitchen and I can start making food. And I've actually, just by luck, didn't obviously not precognitive, didn't know this was going to happen. But I was at my mom's over the Christmas last year. When I was at my mom's, she has all these recipes. She has this green plastic box with all her recipes, and I said to her, "I want your recipes." Right now, I didn't really say this to her because I didn't want to upset her. But my mom's 86, and people don't live forever, and hopefully she'll live for a number more years, and maybe she will get to 100. But she's become very forgetful, and she can't cook anymore because she lives in an assisted living with no stove. So I realized that she's not going to be able to cook these things anymore. And she doesn't remember how to cook some of them anymore. And I don't know how long she's going to know where her recipes are. So I said, I want a record of these. So I took all them out, I laid them on the bed, and I took photographs of them so they're on my cell phone. And so I've been cooking some of my mom's dishes, stuffed peppers and zucchini bread. I just made that yesterday, actually. And I have the recipe for eggplant parm, but I haven't been able to get fresh eggplant here. And several other things that she or my grandmother made, or a friend of my grandmother's made. The zucchini bread's actually a friend of my grandmother's recipe. And certain types of homemade cookies and stuff. Like, I've got all of them now. I don't know if I'm going to have the skill to make some of these things because some of them are kind of hard. But I've actually had a lot of luck with the three or four things I've tried. And I've been able to make that stuff, which I probably wouldn't bother with. Right? There's no way I'm going to come home 6 o'clock at night and start making stuffed peppers, which is going to take me like an hour and a half to make, so that I'm not eating until almost 8 o'clock at night. But if I'm home and I'm done for the day at 4:30, and I can just go down and start cooking, I might do it. And then I have some nice homemade food to eat. In fact, I'm going to be making stuffed peppers for myself for New Year's tomorrow. And so, yeah, I probably wouldn't have experimented with most of that stuff. I've actually had my mother's stuffed peppers recipe for like 10 years. She gave it to me a long time ago. And I just, every time I looked at it, I was like, I can't deal with it. Like, I'm tired. I'm just not, I don't have the stuff for it. I just can't deal with it. But now, since I'm home all the time, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll experiment with it. I'll try. And I find that I really enjoy cooking for myself. I always used to say I hated it, but it turns out the reason I hated it was because I just didn't have time. If I have the day and I have time, like my grandmother, she cooked all the time, but she was home all the time, right? Well, if I were like her and I lived at home and yeah, you're cleaning the house and she did some work at home kinds of stuff, but if I could stop that at 3 or 4 in the afternoon and start making dinner, yeah, I wouldn't mind cooking as much either. So I've actually found that I enjoy cooking, and especially baking, like cakes and stuff, way more than I ever thought I would. And I think it was all because I just didn't have time with all the commuting and being on campus all the time. And I tend to be a workaholic, so I tend to stay late and everything. But when I'm home, I started early. I did all my workaholism during the day. By 4 or 5 o'clock, I'm tired, and I can make dinner now and get my mind off work. And I'm not still on campus driving home through heavy rush hour traffic, such as it is in this area. I'm already home, and I have a really nice big kitchen. So, hey, pretty cool. So there have been some good things. Hopefully, there have been some good things for everybody listening and watching. But hopefully, whatever your 2020 was like, good or bad and different, your 2021 will be better. So, Happy New Year to everybody. And I guess I'll see you in the new year. Let's talk to our contact, who says, excellent. All 3 scientists, I could swear she said 4, are now busily doing the work of Arachnos, with differing degrees of cooperation, but do not imagine that you have worked off your debt to me yet, Nightmare Lass. I have more work in store for you. So we are now almost 2 beads within level 47, but we still have more of this story arc to go, so I'll probably do a little more tonight. After dinner, maybe, I will do another episode, and I probably won't post a second episode today, but I'm going to do a second episode today. Until next time, and I guess at this point, until next year, I am Scrapperlock. This is City of Villains, and happy and healthy new year to everyone.